Hello, and welcome to Another Home Sold, a show about Wellesley real estate, where you hear from the experts on the things you need to know about buying a new home, maintaining your property, or whether you're preparing to sell. I'm your host and realtor, Steven.Verdelli with Coldwell-Banker, Wellesley's #1 real estate company for 24 years in a row. We are very fortunate today to have Amy Weil from Kertzman Weil.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Amy, thanks so much for taking time out of the day. I know the fall selling season is in full swing right now.
Yes, it is.
And it's a lot for you to come out of the office.
Yes, it's hard to get out of the office these days, but I'm happy to be here.
Great. Well, thanks for coming. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. You are originally a Wellesley person.
That's correct. I grew up here in Wellesley all the way up through 9th grade. Actually graduated from Dover Sherburne High School and went on to Babson College, where I graduated and now am an adjunct faculty there. And I did my law school at Suffolk Law here in Boston as well. Our firm is located right at 40 Grove Street here in Wellesley, so it's really great. I look out my window at the Honeywell School where I went to elementary school.
Great. So you are very much engrossed here in Metro West.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. And how many transactions a year do you think that your firm does?
Wow, that would sure be hard to estimate. I would say we do hundreds of transactions a year. We have 5 attorneys, and between us, we all practice in the field of real estate law.
And all very talented.
I'd like to say so, yes.
I can confirm with that. So let's talk a little bit about why somebody should actually hire a real estate attorney over somebody's nephew who, say, is a divorce attorney or a litigator.
Right. Well, we try to explain to people when they call us and ask us about hiring them to assist them with buying or selling their home, how important it is that the person that they're hiring, whether it be us or somebody else, whether that person is really trained to be a real estate attorney. It's important that they understand the regulations that are going on in the industry. And even more than that, it's important that they know the players. So for instance, if we're doing a transaction here in Wellesley, there's a pretty good chance we know the attorney on the other side, we know the brokers who are involved, we know the lenders who are involved. And again, I think that gives us a rapport and the knowledge to be able to get the transaction done in a much more efficient way.
I agree 100%. When people say to me, oh, I have a friend or I have a relative who's an attorney, my immediate reaction is, would you go to a real estate attorney for your divorce? So why are you handling a divorce attorney for your real estate transaction?
Again, we really try to stress that to people and make them understand. For instance, we're not out doing a deposition for 3 days preparing for trial. So we're going to be in the office and able to field their phone calls on a regular basis. We also understand that a lot of the business happens at night and on the weekends, and we make ourselves available at those times as well, whereas a lot of attorneys think we're a little bit crazy for that.
Absolutely. And I have called you many times on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning with an urgent question, and you always get right back to me or answer the phone, which is wonderful. You touched bases that was very important about changing rules and regulations. We have a recent change that has come about in real estate on the national level. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. It's actually quite a big change, and what makes it so different from other changes we've experienced in the past is that it is a national change, that it has affected all the states. It went into effect just last week, so we're starting to learn to work with it. And as I've been telling everyone, it's nothing to panic about, but it's, again, the knowledge. It's making sure that the broker you're working with and the attorney you're working with really understand what the changes mean. So, for instance, we now need to prepare for closing a lot further ahead than we used to. We can no longer make changes right there at the closing table. We need to be prepared with things like as simple as water adjustments, utility adjustments, fuel adjustments, and things like that that can no longer happen on the fly. So that's one of the biggest changes. There are some other changes that can cause up to a 3-day delay. So it's important that the broker you're working with understands that and has really explained that to their customer, to their buyer, and to their seller, that this might happen and to have a contingent plan in place. So we as the attorney are working on documentation that will now go along with the offer and the purchase and sale that will spell this out in the contract, so there's no surprises at the end.
That's great. That's great. So basically we just have to be a little bit more prepared than we were before.
That's correct, and the potential fines are enormous for both the attorney and for the bank. So we are really motivated to make sure that that's taken care of, and we're going to be following up with all the brokers and making sure they understand, so that when we get a transaction, when we get a buyer or seller that hires us, they know from day one what these regulations mean for them.
Absolutely, that's a great point. What due diligence should a buyer perform prior to a P&S?
So we believe really strongly in this. So you might sign a purchase and sale agreement, or an offer, I should say. You'll sign the offer with your broker, and that offer might include an inspection contingency, for instance. And that's where the buyer has an opportunity to go into the home and determine if there are any faults with that home, anything that needs to be fixed, any major structural deficiencies with that property. Believe it or not, in Massachusetts, the seller only really has two major things they have to disclose. They have to let you know if there's lead paint, or if they know of lead paint, I should say, and give you a lead paint disclosure. And they also have to let you know if there's a septic system. But beyond that, the actual seller themselves doesn't really have to tell you a whole lot. So it's very important that you do your home inspection to determine, does the furnace work, or is it going to break the week after you buy the home? So that's very important. So we recommend that. In addition, some of the due diligence that a buyer might do, they might check with the town. We strongly urge people to do this and go to the building department. Are there any open building permits? Very important. They might also check to make sure there's no underground oil tanks. The fire department keeps those records here in town, and you can check with them to see if they have any records as to whether there had been a tank at the property, one had been removed, or in the worst case, there was one there and it still hasn't been removed. So it's something you want to deal with before you own the property.
That can be a big problem. How does one find an attorney? And what kind of questions should somebody ask when they're looking for an attorney?
So we get a lot of our referrals right from the brokers. We like to think that they've dealt with us and they've had good experiences, so they're going to refer their clients to us as well. So I urge people to talk to their brokers and to their lenders to try to get referrals. They can also talk to their friends. Again, it's all about the experience that they had. But what they're looking for is someone who knows what's going on in the industry, who really does this full time, not just someone who dabbles in real estate and makes it a part of their practice, that this is really their primary practice. And the other thing is, can that attorney also, in addition to representing you as a buyer, for instance, can they also do the closing for the lender? So in most instances here in Massachusetts, the buyer's attorney will also represent the lender. They have the same ultimate goal, to get good title to the property. So in most instances, the lender is more than happy to go ahead and use the buyer's attorney to close the loan. Again, a lot of efficiency, cost efficiency, time efficiency, and I think there's a trust that's built in that relationship over time as we're working on the offer and the purchase and sale. They get to the closing, I think that the buyer is a lot more comfortable when they get to the point if it's their own attorney.
Okay, that's great. Now, touching base again on actually sellers and buyers and offers and inspections, what exactly does the seller have to disclose in Massachusetts to a buyer?
So again, really the only two things that they have to let you know is if they know of lead paint, or if they've done any testing and they have any test results, and also the septic system. But keep in mind that you as a buyer, if you ask a seller a question, they have to answer it truthfully and they cannot conceal. So what that means is, if you have a question after the home inspection, it's a really good idea for you to ask the question. Have you had water in the basement? Wow, has that roof leaked before? I see a stain up there. The seller has to answer that truthfully. They can't conceal it, otherwise we might have a case for fraud or misrepresentation. So again, if you're the seller, make sure you answer those questions truthfully and don't try to hide anything.
And have your home inspected.
Absolutely. When I see people waiving their home inspection to make their offers more attractive, it always worries me. You want to make sure there's no structural defects there. You might also test for radon gas, which we see most people test for. We have an EPA standard for that. Some people choose to have their inspector look for things like asbestos, which they might want to have removed. And a lot of people have pest inspections to look for maybe termites or ants or even rodents.
No, inspections are a great idea. It's learning the way the house works and, potentially any issues that should come down the road. Let's talk a little bit about title examination on a house. This is very, very important. People think they can take this on by themselves, which you can, but it's very difficult and you really need to know what you're doing.
Again, you want to get expert advice in these areas. So once the purchase and sale is done, really the next step is going to be for the attorney to do a title exam on the property. We're looking for a couple things. We're looking to see what liens may be on the property, any mortgages or attachments, or maybe a tax lien. They haven't paid their real estate taxes. So we're going to be looking for that. We're also looking to see if there are any easements or restrictions on the property. Maybe it says something about, where the house has to be built or how the house has to be built. So we're going to see that within the documents that we're going to review on the title. So for most of the registries, you can see the information online at any time. You can go online and see the information. You can't always print it, depends on the county. Each county is a little bit different. But hiring the professional, that's so much a part of this industry. You want to have the professional every step of the way to make sure you're protected. Sure is a big purchase.
It's the biggest purchase of your life, and you want to make sure it's done right. Amy, thanks so much for coming on today. I think people have really learned a lot about this transaction and the changes that are going on in real estate every single day, and our most recent change nationally. Amy Weil from Kertzman Weil. Amy, again, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Steve.
Amy can be reached at 40 Grove Street. Her number is 781-237-8701. We'll have all Amy's information up on our Facebook page as well. Next, we're going to go with Beth Regan to 41 High Rock Road in Needham. Beth, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me, Steve.
My pleasure. So tell me, Beth, a little bit about you.
I grew up in Wellesley, and my mother was a real estate agent in Wellesley for Coldwell-Banker for 25 years, and I started working with her about 13 years ago. I have 3 children. We moved to Needham when I was first married. We really enjoyed Needham, and I work with all kinds of listings and buyers in real estate. Really enjoyed bringing young couples to their first homes, and helping a lot of people move out of their current homes to smaller ones. It's definitely in my blood. I grew up with my mother on the phone all night long,
Sure.
and I love it. So that's it.
And you bring a diverse background, having lived in Wellesley and now living in Needham, so
Yes.
you know both towns very well.
Yes, I work in Wellesley under Susan Osceola, same
Great.
person.
Yeah.
And live in Needham. So my background, a lot of my connections are in Needham, and I love having both towns.
Great. Let's talk about this beautiful house at 41 High Rock Road in Needham.
So 41 High Rock Street in Needham is a shingle-style home. It was custom built in 2004, and it has about 6,300 square feet of living space. And
Wow.
it's set back from the road with lots of privacy. It's a mostly wooded acre, 1.3 acres. When I think of this home, I think of 3 different things. One, it's got a terrific location. It's close to the Junction train stop. Have you ever gone there?
Yep.
Get ice cream. And the shops, but it's very private, and which is very hard to come by in Needham.
And this was custom made,
Yes, it was
custom designed for
custom
the
designed
original
for the original owner. This is the second owner.
built in 2004.
Yes.
Okay.
It has beautiful sunlight. It's a very happy house. Has big open spaces, skylights, and a Scandinavian style. And then it has a fantastic lower recreation room, which just has so much fun.
So this front foyer here, light wood throughout the house, cream-colored walls, very neutral, very beautiful.
Yes, it's very elegant, glass chandelier, and a custom-built bench. Then we move into the living room, which has French doors from the foyer. You can close the French doors to create a private setting, or you can have them open to the beautiful foyer. It has pretty cherry moldings, as you can see.
Yeah.
But what you can't see in this picture is that it also has custom bookshelves at the back.
Beautiful, bright windows. Are those oversized windows?
Yes, all of the windows in the house are, or at least on the first floor, have transoms, extra
Yep.
transoms across the top.
That makes a huge difference.
It brings in extra light. Then in the formal dining room, which is on the opposite side of the foyer, so it's truly a center entrance, it has dramatic brown walls and a really pretty built-in china hutch.
And the dining room is 17 by 15. That's enormous.
Yeah, it is. It's very big. And what's really lovely about it is it opens to a front porch with French doors.
Very nice. You see the light pouring in there.
Yes. Then the next room is the family room, which is open to the kitchen.
Yep.
It's got 2-story vaulted ceiling, skylights, and then also French doors out to the back deck.
And that's 17 feet by 25 feet, and it looks like that's probably, what, a 25-foot high ceiling?
Yeah, it's very tall, and it opens to the upstairs. It's
beautiful.
Lofted. And there's really pretty fieldstone fireplace there that they can
And the
sit by.
transom windows are carried in the back of the house as well.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
And then in this photo, you get a feel for the open loft that I was talking about above. And you can see also more built-ins. And it's the openness to the kitchen.
And a 5-seat island in the kitchen.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is rare. Then if we move to this is the picture of the kitchen. And in this case, you have a 6-burner stove, a pretty farm sink, which you can't see behind.
Yeah.
But it's custom yellow cabinets. And like you said, there's plenty of space for seating.
And this is a speaker up here for piped-in music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Surround
sound
throughout.
speakers.
Yes, in the living room, dining room, lower level, master, and upstairs hallway. And then there's also plenty of storage throughout. All these cabinets open up with drawers. Then we move on to the breakfast area, which is really unusual because it has a hand-painted floor, which is terrific because you have the beauty of a carpet, but you can sweep it at any time.
This is not a rug.
No, it's not. It's
that
really
is gorgeous. I've never seen that before.
I
That's
know.
beautiful.
I haven't either, but I just love that detail. And they have a really practical desk there with lots of extra storage for table supplies
And that
office
kitchen is 15 by 34.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a good size. One of my favorite rooms in the house is their sort of family study. It's got a massive wraparound desk with 2 workstations and bookshelves beyond and little sitting benches as well. It's really meant for everybody to be able to study in there, and it's finished with a really pretty blue wash to make it a really fun place to study.
And that is right off the kitchen, so kids doing homework or home office, multi-purposes.
Absolutely.
Multiple purposes.
And then there's also off the kitchen and the 3-car garage, a mudroom that has all these beautiful custom light wood cubbies that has a bench built in and an umbrella holder, so there's absolutely no excuse for not being organized in this
They have
house.
really thought of everything here.
Yes, they have. As you
That's
move,
the difference. If I could interrupt you, this is the kind of stuff you see in homes that are custom made, where somebody really put a lot of thought into what they were doing, and it's not a spec house from a builder.
no, there's tons of thought put into every inch of this house. As you'll see as we get into the bedrooms, even the walk-in closets have great thought put into them. As we move upstairs, there's the open sitting room overlooking the family room, but off of that, there are 5 bedrooms. And then the master bedroom is very oversized and has a vaulted ceiling.
And that's 20 by 17. That is a big master bedroom.
It's hard to even fill it.
Yeah.
And they have 2 closets. One is a walk-in and one is another large closet.
Nice.
And then there's also 2 eaves that are over the garage. So this bedroom is placed over the 3-car garage. And under those eaves are little window seats and storage beneath that.
And the painting is impeccable.
Yeah, it's beautiful, bright, cheery colors. In the master bath, they have, it's just so peaceful. And this has vaulted ceilings as well. And then for privacy, they have the pretty plantation shutters, although it is set at the back of the house, so it really is private anyway. And there's 2 separate vanities with the most unusual marble. It's a very pale, light blue marble. I haven't seen it anyplace else, like really cheery. And then, so there's 2 separate vanities. And then in the other eave of the 3rd garage, you'll see a built-in dressing table.
And that marble countertop is carried over to where the tub is, correct?
Yes, yes. It's
That's
really
very
beautiful.
unusual.
Very pretty. Then this is one of the bedrooms. This one is really fun. It has an orange painted ceiling. And then all of the kids' bedrooms have light fixtures that have been hand painted. And you can see kind of a sun in this one.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. And then off of this bedroom and another bedroom are 2 walk-in closets with desks built in. So that's what I was talking about before. She really put a lot of thought. So this young woman is using it as a makeup table, but in another room, I'll show you later, it's used as just a desk to study in. And this is another bedroom, all with nice sized windows. And 2 of the bedrooms have private access to the bathroom, but they also open to the hall, so everyone can share as well.
A Hollywood bathroom.
Yes. And then again, the closet shelving with the desk showing in this.
Yeah, and the custom closets.
Yes, yeah, and just the desks are a great idea. It gives you a little privacy from the rest of the world.
Now, I think this is my favorite room in the house when I was touring it with you, was the recreation room.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's just huge. You could have a whole media area, a pool table, a ping pong table, and a poker table behind.
47 by 30.
Yeah,
That is one of the big, and it's ground level.
yes, so you can walk right out to the yard, beautiful big windows. There's a wet bar. There's also space for storage. They have a whole finished room for skis and shelves for all your Costco stuff. There's also a temperature-controlled wine cellar down there and an
Wow.
exercise room. So it really makes for a lot of fun.
So 6,300 square feet on 1.3 acres, 4 zones of central air conditioning and 4 zones of heat.
Yes,
So
very
you can
well
really
built.
control that very well. 3-car garage.
Very
This
well
house
built.
really it has everything.
Yes. And what's so nice about it is, as I said before, the location. So you have this beautiful deck overlooking the yard. It's Trex material,
Yep.
so it'll never rot,
Yeah.
and overlooks the beautiful woods. And the yard goes far over to the left, and in that they have a wooden bridge set over what was at one time a little stream. It doesn't run very often.
Oh, fun.
But it's a lot of fun to go romp around the yard and climb over the bridge and whatnot.
It's a perfect house for entertaining.
Yes, it is. The rooms are really open. Like you said, the speakers are in the multiple rooms, and the kitchen is set up perfectly so you can.
This is really what you get in a custom design house, not a typical spec house that a builder would do. It sounds like, and it looks like, nothing was really cut short in this house.
No, not at all.
It's the perfect
really
little house.
a terrific house. It's one of my favorites in Needham.
Beth, thanks so much for showing us this wonderful house today.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It was a lot of fun.
Again, if you're interested in seeing 41 High Rock Street, you can contact Beth Regan at 781-640-7895 at Coldwell-Banker in Wellesley.
Thanks.
I hope you've enjoyed watching today's episode of Another Home Sold. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we'll have all this information about this house as well. If you're thinking about listing your home or just want an up-to-date market analysis, please contact me at 617-922-4714. I'm Steven.Verdelli with Coldwell-Banker Residential Brokerage in Wellesley. Thanks for watching. See you next week. And remember, home is the nicest word there is.